Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and you guys know what time it is. It's time for another training vlog for my client Mikey. One of my many clients at this point. I might eventually have others who want to do this too. I just gotta have people who send me enough footage you don't mind me putting them up. But we got a PR on the axle bar floor press. You know, and here's the theme that you guys are going to notice at this point. We run conjugate training, right? Team Blaha runs conjugate training. We max on a lot of variations, and those variations are highly dependent upon what equipment a person has available. Mikey's got an above average amount of equipment, right? It makes it a lot easier here. But it doesn't mean that we don't use some basic movements for even hypertrophy purposes, you know? So we did that, and that was a PR. And that's our goal, by the way. We always want a PR. We try not to replicate the same lift until we can PR on it again. Now, unfortunately, when you're in my situation, where, you know, again, I'm cutting right now, and I'm doing, my goal is a 31-pound weight cut, it can be hard to pull that off. But when your guys are either maintaining or bulking, we should see that year-round, barring injuries. And we do see that with Mikey, right? We do see that. I think that was around a 10-pound PR. It might have been a 15. I need to go back and check. But then after that, what did we do? He did straight pause bench, and now he's going to do floor press. Now, you guys have watched recently a lot of incline and other stuff. So it's like, why are we doing all this? Well, where's Mike weakest at? Look at where the floor press stops for him. It's a couple inches off the chest, right? That is where he sticks on the bench. It's a good idea to build the muscle from that spot. And the thing that's nice with the floor press is that it forces us to control the weight and then explode from that point. Now, of course, he hit failure here. Now, watch this. A lot of people are afraid of hitting failure on the floor press. Now, it's not as bad as it looks here because he's just unwrapping, but he could slide out from under there anytime he wants. Because, again, you just slide out. So it looks scary, right? It looks scary. But the thing is, when you miss a rep on the floor press, it just comes down to your neck, right? Because think about it. If you can't even quite touch your chest, you can't actually get pinned, right? And you're using big plates usually. But for him, this is what we're doing with his bench. He's slower off the chest. He misses right off the chest. In fact, I've seen him grind some of these variations a little bit off the chest and just lock it out really effectively. Now, we're seeing a little mishaps today. We don't normally see this with Mikey. So he hit failure. He hit failure there. And then on his JM presses, he's too close to the J-hooks today. Okay? Something I've explained to you guys in my vlogs. You got to be careful of how close you get to the J-hooks. He's got shorter arms, so he's not used to it being a big problem. For me, it is. I have really long arms. And so for me, I've got to be really far away from those J-hooks or I'll hit them on that exercise. And he hit them there today, and it really messed him up, and it really messed the rest of his setup. So just something to be aware of on that. But if you look at what we're doing with his pressing, he's weakest off the chest. How do we fix that? Pause benching, dumbbell work, floor presses, right? For some people, dips are very effective for that. Now, he doesn't have dumbbells, but he's got floor press. That's a good combination for that. It will help build his chest out of the bottom. And then he needs more lat work, right? He needs more lat work. Now, interestingly enough, what else do we know about Mike? That he needs more lats for his deadlift too. It's one reason we're doing so much lat specialization. We're seeing pull-ups. We're seeing rows. He does snatch grip high pulls, right? We do a lot of middle and upper back work. But again, this is a lat dominant training for him. We do both pull-ups and rows, both his upper body days. Okay? That's not counting his speed pulls, not counting the snatch grip high pulls, because all those things work lats, just not quite as effectively as those movements. We're pushing a lot of lat work for Mike, pushing a lot of pec work. Got to get him thicker. You know, I thought that was funny. I've actually had some clients kind of chime in, or viewers chime in and say, well, he looks as thick as you. No, he's not as thick as me. We might have similar size arms, but I'm actually, my torso is quite a bit thicker. I can touch my chest on a floor press, and I have longer arms than him. So put that in perspective if you want to scale that, right? So, but Mikey is pretty thick up top, but we've got to get him thicker. We have to get him thicker. He needs more chest, he needs more lat. And so that's what we're doing with his training, right? That is what we're doing. And and again, we do our little combination for him for all that back work. So we do pull-ups, we do pin leg rows, and then we do snatch grip high pulls, because we need a lot more back, right? That is what he needs right now to help multiple of his lifts. Now, sumo, he got a sumo PR today, and I don't remember what it is. I think it's 455. Keeping in mind, Mike's weakest lift is the deadlift. We're deadlift specializing for him right now. His training is very, very heavily geared towards the deadlift. It doesn't mean we don't train other things. We still care about his squat and bench. His bench is his best lift. Bench is his best lift. But we're fine-tuning that. We're not spending a lot of work on bench. We're just saying, hey, look, we need to work on some pause benching. We need to do some floor pressing, right? And that'll sort his bench right out. We'll get it moving again. It'll make him thicker where he needs to be for his weak points. But he also needs more lat for his deadlift and his bench. So lats are going to get a higher priority since we're deadlift specializing. And his lats are a weak link on 2 lifts, including the one we specialize on. We're doing a lot of lat work. Now, keeping in mind, all this other stuff works lats too. The speed pulls, these good mornings, you're going to feel a lot of lat. Anyone who's ever done a good morning with the safety bar like he's doing, I've actually pulled a lat this year doing them with chains, right? I've actually strained a lat. I've strained a lat, and it took it a couple days to heal. Okay, you can pull lats on this exercise. That's how hard they have to stabilize. It's an isometric contraction, but they matter. One of the reasons we're using that bar specifically for him, it carries over really well to the conventional deadlift as far as the back development goes. Now, we're still letting him keep the belt squats in. Letting him keep in the belt squats, but we're not going to be doing any supplemental squatting outside of the speed work and the max work. He doesn't need it. Doesn't need it right now. But this will be enough to keep his quads and his adductors and everything growing outside of the speed work. While again allowing us to focus a little more on pulling, because we're not dealing with a bunch of extra axial loading, right? So we can continue to make his quads grow, continue to make his adductors and everything grow, but we can do it with an exercise that doesn't put extra loading on the spine, because I'm pushing him really hard. We're doing a lot of heavy good mornings. I'm increasing the volume of his speed pulls. And again, with bands, they start to add up at the top, right? So that counts as axial loading. We could say, well, it's only X amount of weight on the bar. Yeah, but there's axial loading at the top against the bands. And if we're increasing the volume on it, there's going to be more of that. So we've got to pay attention to his low back recovery. Again, the belt squats are great for that. This is even better for it, the reverse hypers. But really, our deadlift fixes are, we're hypertrophying all the lats, so we're doing a lot of rows, a lot of pull-ups. We're doing reverse hypers, and we're doing safety bar good mornings. These are how we are hypertrophying the muscles for his deadlift, right? We're hypertrophying them this way. The actual other elements of it is that we are doing more and more speed work. We're increasing volume on his speed pulls, right? We want to continue to increase that. We want to see that improve over time. And right now, we're doing 8 doubles. I will eventually take that up to possibly 10 doubles, which is what I do right now. So I used to have him do 10 singles, sometimes 6 to 8 singles against the bands. Now we're up to 16 reps of speed pulls for him. So that's the other thing that we're using. But that was, again, the end of his max effort lower day. Again, all we do is a max lift. He does safety bar good mornings, belt squats, reverse hypers. Okay. Speed bench, of course, he's always good at speed bench. It's a standard protocol for him. We do 3 sets of each grip for 3 reps. So we do 3 wide, 3 medium, 3 close. He runs 50% of his max in bar weight, 30% of his max in band tension. Again, we run an aggressive band tension for this, but he's got the speed. He's fine with it. Notice how he just pushes through anyways. A lot of lifters wouldn't be able to do that. So he's got great speed strength. And again, this will also help him get faster off the chest, but we have to hypertrophy the correct muscles, right? He's got the neuromuscular efficiency for it because if we see it in his speed work, that element's covered. So his bench is only going to get better if we get the right muscles thicker from here. More pec, more lat. Right, that is what he needs. And then after that, we do some more floor pressing. Because again, we don't need pause bench. We've already done a bunch of benching with the bar all the way to the chest. And again, the floor press is great for his sticking point because it removes the leg drive, right? We don't have leg drive. It takes us right to the point about an inch below where he sticks, and then you have to reverse it from there and drive back through with no leg drive. Because we can use leg drive for the pause work. We use leg drive on the speed bench. Can't use it here. Forces him to use his chest to get the weight moving about an inch below where he sticks. Okay? So again, if that's where you stick at, this is a perfect lift for you. Because once you get good at using leg drive, it's hard to remove it. You'll always have it. It's going to happen automatically unless you get loose on the bench. So again, for him, where he sticks right now, that is a really, really good lift. I also like dumbbells for that, depending upon the lifter, but he doesn't have them. And if he did, I would probably say rotate them in phases, like 3 weeks of floor press, 3 weeks of dumbbells. But again, his weighted pull-ups, we're continuing to slowly get stronger there. We're getting stronger all the time on his rows and his snatch grip high pulls. I don't even know what he's doing for snatch grip high pulls, but he beats me on them right now. He's stronger than me at them. So I got to get caught up to him. I can't have my lifters beating me on lifts. Not that I don't already have some. I got a guy who out deadlifts me right now. Out deadlifts the best you guys have ever seen me do. But Mike definitely has me beat on these snatch grip high pulls by, I don't know, a good 40 pounds, 45 pounds. I don't know what he's doing, 265. Might be up to 270 already. But again, look at how thick his shoulders have gotten. Right? Keeping in mind, Mike is a drug-free lifter. Right? He's not on any gear. Never has been. He's never done any in his life. And I'm not saying all my lifters are clean, but he is. Look how big we've gotten his shoulders. Off of this one exercise, he does not overhead press. And I'm not saying overhead pressing isn't great. I'm not saying it doesn't have its place. But look at his shoulder girdle. We do not do any overhead pressing for him because he doesn't need it. We don't care about it. Right? It doesn't address his weak links in the bench. It's historically been usually his chest. So we use the snatch grip high pull to build that. And again, it helps with things like squatting and other movements because we build that entire upper back, that whole yoke area. Again, people say, oh, I want a yoke. Well, that is the movement to do it. And it's not just me who says it. If you follow other people on YouTube, Eric Bugenhagen has said the same thing for years. That specific lift is what he says you should be doing to really build your yoke. And you're watching a first-hand example. Because you guys have been watching this for months. You've watched his shoulders slowly growing. And they're a lot bigger than when we started. And you're seeing that exercise work in real time. You've got me telling you to do it. You've got the Boogs telling you to do it. And then you're watching it happen in a drug-free lifter. It's a good exercise if you want to build your whole shoulder girdle up, including the upper traps. Then, of course, he did his speed squats, and he's getting better about pausing because I've rode him about that. We've got to pause on those. And we're back to a phase right now of sumos for the speed pulls. I alternate him back and forth. Sometimes you'll see my guys do conventional deficit. Sometimes they'll do regular conventional. Sometimes they'll do block pulls, even if they're using bands. Same thing with sumo. We might actually change those up from time to time and even do, a 1-inch block pull against bands for sumo, right, on the speed work. So we change it up quite a bit. So we want to keep it varied. And a lot of my guys, I do 3-week waves. Some of them we like to alternate it every week. I keep Mike in traditional 3-week waves. He responds well to it. But again, we have to vary that stimulus, right? So that we don't get overuse issues from it. We don't acclimate. And after that, it's the same as other days. He does his speed squats. He does his speed pulls, which we've increased the volume on. Then we just do safety bar, good mornings, and reverse hypers. Right? Because this is what he needs. These lifts will bring up your conventional deadlift. And that's our goal. Our goal is to get him to a 500 conventional deadlift. And I know a lot of people say, a guy this size, he's so strong in these other lifts, he can't pull over 500. I know. I know. It's his weak link. But we're fixing that. And we're doing the movements that'll do it. We're building his lats. We're doing safety bar good mornings, and we're pushing them hard. Right? He's not playing around here. He's working hard even on these 10 rep sets. We're doing reverse hypers, and we're progressing on all of them. And then we're adding more speed pulls against bands. He will get that 500 deadlift. It will absolutely happen this year. He'll probably pass it. He should be past it. And then we finish off with some more reverse hypers at the end. But again, this is another week of Mikey's training for you guys. So hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it has been informative. And I will talk to you guys next time.